Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a really powerful investigative report from WikiTimes that pulls back the curtain on the systematic extortion happening on Nigeria's highways. And this isn't just about a few bad apples. It's a deep dive into what looks like a well-oiled machine of corruption. And let's just start right there with the human cost of what should be a routine traffic stop. This one sentence from a farmer, Musa Adamu, really tells you everything you need to know. It's that feeling of fear, of just total resignation, the knowledge that trying to argue for your rights is going to cost you way more than just paying the bribe. So let's start with these stories from the ground. This part of the investigation isn't really about traffic laws. It's about everyday people just trying to get by, whose journeys are completely upended. This is a shakedown, plain and simple. We're going to look at how ordinary folks are basically forced to pay up on the spot or get tangled in a system that's designed to crush them. So you've got people like Musa and Sulaiman. Musa, the farmer we just heard from, had his key snatched before he was even told what he supposedly did wrong. He just paid the 5,000 naira to avoid the nightmare his neighbor went through. Then there's Sulaiman. He was fined 7,000 naira for carrying passengers, but the officers made it crystal clear. Pay us the 7,000 now, or trust us, it's going to be a whole lot worse for you at the official office. Okay, so you hear these stories and you have to wonder, right? Are these just a couple of unfortunate one-off incidents, or is this a pattern? Well, to find out for sure, WikiTimes sent a reporter undercover to see if they could trigger the exact same experience. The plan was actually pretty simple, but brilliant. First, the reporter took the number plate off his motorcycle. I mean, that's a guaranteed way to get pulled over. Then he drove down a route that's notorious for these kinds of shakedowns by the Federal Road Safety Corps, or FRSC, to see what would happen and record everything. And sure enough, he gets stopped. His key is taken immediately, and then he's told this: go and see our Oga there. That little phrase, that's the code. That's the signal that this is no longer an official traffic stop. This is now an off-the-books negotiation. So he gets led behind the patrol van, for a discreet little chat. And this was the price of, quote, leniency. They started by asking for 4,000 naira, but after a little back and forth, they landed on 3,000. Paid in cash, obviously. The reporter offered a bank transfer, but they refused. No paper trail. So what was the big crime that cost 3,000 naira? You might think it was the missing number plate, right? Nope. The little handwritten note he was given just said OMD, a vague little acronym for obstruction of martial duty. This detail is so important, and we're going to come back to it. And this brings us to a really crucial point. What happened to the reporter, to Musa, to Sulaiman? It wasn't random. The undercover work revealed that this follows a clear, repeatable script. It's basically a playbook for extortion. So let's break down the tactics. Now, this is where it gets really clever in a terrible way. Look at the numbers. For that vague OMD charge, the reporter paid a bribe that was actually more than the official fine. But for Sulaiman's overloading offense, his bribe was less than the official 10,000 naira fine. See what they're doing? It's psychological. Both numbers are perfectly calculated to make you feel like paying cash on the spot is your best and only option. These aren't sloppy mistakes. This is a system. It's a series of calculated moves. Step 1, the threat. We're going to impound your vehicle, which is a total nightmare for anyone. Step 2, the offer. But we can show you some leniency if you settle this right now. Step 3, the negotiation happens somewhere out of sight. Step 4, it is always, always cash only. And step 5, if there's no real crime, they just invent one. It's a complete playbook. So we've seen how the playbook works, but the part that's truly mind-blowing is when you put all of this next to what the actual law says is supposed to happen. The gap between the official rules and the reality on the road, it's just massive. And this slide just lays it out, plain as day. On the left, you've got the law, a clear, transparent process with specific offenses, bank payments, official receipts. On the right, you have the reality, a completely parallel, illegal system that runs on fear, made-up crimes, and untraceable cash going straight into someone's pocket. And listen, this isn't just about petty cash. A legal expert in the report points out that this whole roadside racket directly attacks a huge national economic policy, the Treasury Single Account, or TSA. That system was created for the specific purpose of stopping this exact kind of corruption. So every single naira paid as a bribe on the roadside is literally being stolen from the government. So what's the official word when the authorities are asked about this? Well, you get a flat-out denial. The police spokesman in Gombe insisted their system is totally clean. The officers never handle cash and that every fine goes through the courts. Period. But the investigation found the complete opposite. In that same area, Gombe, another journalist was extorted for 2,000 naira by a traffic warden who had actually left his post. He was basically out hunting for victims to shake down. And what's really telling is that the police's own data seems to have a hole in it. Look at this chart. In 1 month, they impounded over 5,000 motorcycles, okay? They officially prosecuted over 4,000 in court. So what happened to the other 1,000? Where did they go? The report strongly suggests they were resolved with these roadside cash payments. So, okay, why does a roadside shakedown in Bauchi or Gombe matter for the entire nation? Well, because this isn't just some local issue. It's a symptom of a much, much bigger institutional failure, and it has serious national consequences. When the Federal Road Safety Corps was confronted with all this evidence, they gave the classic bad eggs response. The official admitted that, yeah, it probably happens, but it's just a few bad officers. He said that while they have internal surveillance, they just can't be everywhere at once. But here's the thing. It's not just a few bad eggs out in the countryside. The investigation found the exact same thing happening in Abuja, the nation's capital. And get this. In Abuja, they have expensive, safe city technology, cameras and systems that are designed to automate all of this. But officers on the street are just ignoring it. And locals think they know why. Because that technology would kill the opportunity for these cash deals. And that legal expert, Barrister Mohammed, just nails it right here. This goes so far beyond just breaking a rule, it completely destroys public trust, it drains government money, and it builds this toxic culture where the law isn't a tool for protection, it's a tool for personal profit. When you really add it all up, the impact is devastating. It's a crisis that hits from every single angle. It's about trust, it's about money, it's about basic human rights, and it's a direct attack on national policy. It damages the country on every level. So, in the end, who's to blame? Is it just the individual bad egg officer trying to make a quick buck? Or is it the system that doesn't watch them, doesn't punish them, and creates a culture where this is just allowed to happen? The evidence in this investigation points pretty clearly to one answer. It's both. This investigation really shines a bright light on something that millions of people experience, but so few can ever actually prove. It gives a voice to people who feel powerless. And it leaves all of us with a final, lingering question. How many more stories like Musa's and Suleiman's are out there, happening right now on roads all across the country?